Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. And as you know, our show Eye on the Valley is brought to you, like I said, by SCVI and iLEAD Schools. We're a network of charter schools with campuses here in Castaic on the west side of the valley, Agua Dulce here on the east side of the valley, and then up over the bump in Lancaster, we've got a couple of schools. You know, we've also got a fully accredited online school. We'll have some folks from our online school here in just about an hour or so. And, you know, if that distance learning really struck a fancy with your kids, we've got a burgeoning homeschool program. A lot of families moving to our homeschool program this year. It's called iLEAD Exploration. You can get more information about them and, well, gosh, any of our schools at iLeadschools.org. That's iLeadschools.org. Check us out. You can get more information about that homeschool, the online, or our classroom-based schools. Like I said, Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. So yeah, we're keeping our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like the show says, we also like to keep our eye on the valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the valley. And we try to do it while bringing a smile to your face because, you know, Patty and I like to giggle and goof and have a little bit of fun time on the show. So, man, spring is sprung. It's sprung like it does here in SoCal in the weirdest way. We pushed into the 90s yesterday here in the valley, and we're gonna hit the mid 90s again today. I actually got a heat warning from my Amazon Alexa this morning. She said, "Watch out, it's gonna be hot." But temperatures are gonna back off a little bit this weekend, making for another incredible weekend in Awesome Town. You know what I did last weekend? You know I love Mr. Reyes, Patty. I went up to the rooftop at Reyes Winery on Main for dinner. Me and my friends shared a couple of bottles of wine, a charcuterie board. Then I had the lobster pappardelle. Oh, man. Ooh. So good. We ate and drank while the sun set on the Valencia sky. It was absolutely amazing. So I love that we've got so much stuff to do here in downtown Newhall. Just talking to a friend about all the amazing things that our city offers here in Newhall, and I love that you're here with us this morning. It is Friday, y'all. So let's relax. Friday morning is a time to take it easy. You ain't late for nothing. So pour yourself another cup of coffee and let's slide into the weekend together. We've got an incredible show for you today. You won't believe it. We're kicking off the show with the mayor of Santa Clarita. That's right. Mayor Laurene Weste right here in studio with us. We will get to that in just a moment. In hour number 2, we're talking middle school today. So I don't know about you, but middle school was a rough time for me. I struggled a little bit in middle school, and gosh, I sometimes wish I could have done middle school online. Well, now kids can, and when you meet the middle school team from iLEAD Online, you're gonna absolutely love them. And you know, we like to end the show with some fun and a little bit of trivia, but some of you might remember that Big T, he was suspended last week. Will he be back this week? Gonna have to stick around to find out. As I mentioned, my first guest this morning is currently serving her 6th term as mayor of Santa Clarita. As a prior commissioner of the City Parks and Recreation Commission, Laurene Weste has overseen the establishment of numerous parks, the preservation of thousands of acres of open space, and the construction of a crosstown trail system that is widely heralded as a crowning achievement for our still young city. As a Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy Advisory Board member, Laurene spearheaded the drive to save the historic 800-acre Mentryville, which is the first oil town in California, for future generations. As director of the Santa Clarita Valley Committee on Aging, Laurene has helped safeguard the programs that assist our most experienced citizens and give them the dignity that they deserve. In the future, Mayor Weste would like to see additional open space acquired, roads built to ease congestion, new sports fields created, the continued revitalization of Old Town Newhall, and an open space green belt completely surrounding the city. How wonderful would that be? She would also like to see the preservation of the last unchanneled river in Southern California, the Santa Clara River. Mayor West, thank you so much for joining us at Eye on the Valley this morning.
I'm just excited to be here. There's so much going on these days, and hey, we're back to working at normal.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's been a tough couple of years. I don't have to tell you folks on the city council that.
We've been lonely.
But it's good. Like you said, it's good to get back to normal.
Yeah.
Wonderful to have guests back in the studio again and be able to chat with you face to face. So you've lived here in Santa Clarita for quite a while now,
Forever.
and forever.
Forever.
Yeah, and you've held numerous positions, as I mentioned, with the city, with the county. Why is it so important to you to be as deeply involved in the community as you are?
Oh, just look over the hill.
Okay, be nice.
I am nice. I mean, if that's what you're used to, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't what we wanted to be. We're a geographically isolated area. We don't connect to other cities. While we share the valley with our county, and we have a great supervisor with Catherine Barger.
Oh boy.
We are the city, and we are setting our agenda to be what a close community wants to be. And it was always a goal for us to be what you're starting to see. We're the lead in the United States on so many things. We're preserving our history in California, which is really unusual. We have one of the best trail systems in the United States, if not the best.
Wow.
We have one of 7 communities that actually have established an open space district, and I believe it's probably the only one established by the voters themselves.
Wow. That's incredible. And you know, you're right. I myself was born in the San Fernando Valley, and the intentionality with which this community was and is built is the reason my family's here.
Yes, they probably came here for you.
You're absolutely right. I got a good mama, and she brought us up over the hill to get the world-class education and have the parks and recreation and the type of community that she was looking for to raise my brother and I.
You made the most important comment, community.
Yeah.
We are community. We're a big, really big, small town, and education is primary. We have great schools. I was very much in support and was on the first draw for SCVI when
Yes,
they
you were.
drew that, and they've done a wonderful job. And we have so many educational opportunities in Santa Clarita that you just wouldn't have just anywhere else. But we pride ourselves on being a community and being responsive to the whole community and making it feel like a community. So everything that's done here is looked at as what will this do and how will this create community.
Yeah.
And people say, how do you create community? It's about planning. It's about responsibility of keeping people close together. You got 200 nonprofits, a lot of churches, a lot of great schools. We went from 7 parks to 36. We just did our 36th
Wow.
park, and we're not done. So, I mean, how many cities can say that? We did amazing things through COVID.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
think about what we did during COVID.
We didn't slow down, did we?
No, we didn't stop. We didn't close. We didn't give up. We just tried to keep people connected. I mean, I got the calls about, are you going to close your parks? Are you going to close your trails? How about your open space? No, keep it open. Keep people outdoors. Let them be healthy. Get the kids outside.
We kept it open, and during the pandemic, we even opened a couple of new parks.
We did. We opened probably the most expensive park, County Country Community Center Park, which is huge. Very complicated project. Probably will be the largest difference in County Country for how they aggregate together. They literally have a facility that does everything. They have a new farmers market out there.
Yeah.
You can take on any kind of class, and everybody loves it. The facility's great. Hello. You hotels, if there's a little competition out there,
all right.
because you can do events out there. I say that to the nonprofits, come on down.
Yeah, definitely.
So and there's complete film capability in there. Just pop in the old disc, and it's on a screen. You got the sound. You got the full kitchen.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Fully functional center.
Fully functional, and of course we got our new sheriff station after 50 years.
Yeah.
And they are loving it. Nice combination with the county and Supervisor Barger's strong support we got there. And they were literally sitting on each other's desks with their stuff over there. They were so cramped. So this is great.
Yeah.
We just have one little issue, gas gone.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting topic. Maybe we'll
We'll
talk about
get
that in
to
a
it.
little bit. Yeah, absolutely. You talked about planned growth. I mentioned coming up here as a kid. My family actually moved up in the first days of 1980, and it seemed like at that time the city, well, we weren't a city at that point, but Santa Clarita was growing. But most folks did have to go over the hill, had to go into the San Fernando Valley or Los Angeles to work.
Exactly.
And even though our city now, our valley has grown so quickly, it seems like a smaller and smaller percentage of folks are driving over the hill for work anymore. A lot of folks can stay home. That had to have been difficult as quickly as we've grown to grow jobs even faster. Is that something the city's been intentional about as well?
It has been very intentional. We wanted to create jobs housing balance so that, people didn't have to do that. And most people acknowledged, we did surveys, they wanted to work in their valley and would
Mm-hmm.
even take a little less money to not have to be in the commute thing for, two,
Sure.
3, 4 hours a day. So we really work to bring jobs, and we have, new industrial
Yeah.
over here on Sierra Highway.
Mm-hmm.
Huge drink pack came. And we had the EDC form, Economic Development Corporation,
Mm-hmm.
and their job is to, one, retain the jobs and business in the valley and also attract new, clean,
Sure.
good, higher paying jobs for the valley. So we're working on that all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been reading, in some of the news stories right here at KHTS, some of the bigger companies that are starting to bring their operations here to the valley. Logix and Disney has
Yes.
talked about doing stuff, and
Well, and you got the new Black Hall Studios is
Mhm.
coming, and they're apparently in England and back in Georgia, huge facility. And the movie industry is a clean industry. What they bring
yeah,
to us is so phenomenal. We're kind of the heart of movie industry from way back in the 1920s.
hmm
So, you got filming going on every single day, and they bring huge amounts of business to everyone. They will spend all their money when they're doing a film shoot. They spend all their money in the area because time for them is a huge thing.
Sure.
So they spend it right here, and the revenue generation is very large, and the jobs created are incredible jobs. Huge population of movie industry workers here.
Oh yeah, we see them all the time. It seems like you can't drive through a major intersection without seeing the signs
Yeah.
pointing the entertainment industry of this is where the shoot's going to be today, and that's very important for our economy. It's kind of fun as a citizen who's not involved in the entertainment industry to see the trailers and you
Yeah.
say, oh look, there's Mark Harmon. He's doing something for NCIS.
I
Or,
see stuff on the TV, and I say, "Okay, I know where that is, and I know
right.
where that is." And it's our hometown. It's who we are, and it's always been important to our valley. So the city is very much focused and created
Yeah,
opportunity.
and it's methodical. It's something that you've got to work at, but it's not too hard to make your space friendly to business. You just make it comfortable for them to do what they need to do, and they will come.
Well, you have a better community when you have good business.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we talked about the economic space, but the physical space, the open spaces that we have here in Santa Clarita have always been so important to our community. Our parks, our trails, and they've been important to you as well. This has been an area of focus in your career. But like I said, we continue to grow. New homes are being built here every year. So how do you and the rest of the city council maintain kind of that delicate balance as we prepare for the growth of new neighbors coming in with the necessary infrastructure, keeping open space so these folks can not just come and live, but also have space to play?
Well, it was very important for the city to create an atmosphere where children could have healthy upbringing, and parks are probably one of the most important things we do. It wasn't until 2007 when the voters of this community passed the open space district, and I headed up that as a volunteer. And we now have 13,000 acres of open space, and growing. Most communities don't have that. So when you look out, you see hills, those are yours. Those are going to be yours. It's going to be greenbelt all the way around. It also helps with the movie industry because there's clean ridge lines
Yeah.
for backshoot. There's all these open spaces that go out. They can literally create almost anywhere in the world right here in Santa Creta because you got the look for everything.
Sure, you're right. That's some of the old the westerns and things like that that are set
Shit.
in older times. You really can just go a hop, skip, and a jump from some of the best restaurants in the state to something that looks like the 1800s.
They love us, and we are preserving our history. I mean, we're preserving the Pioneer Oil Refinery. It's being
Yeah.
reconstructed. Mentorville is intact, and we'll do some more with that. Working hard, and I'm working personally on the buildings over at Heritage Junction to get them rehabbed, earthquake retrofit, and all those wonderful things. But I would say, to your point about growth, the state has mandated that we must have a certain amount built, and they have pretty much are taking all of our planning rights away. So
Okay.
now legislature is coming out with new stuff every year. You got to build this, you got to do that, and they're forcing the expansion of the amount of units that must be put on property. And if you don't do it, I mean, they'll just help you do it.
Help you do it. That's a
They'll
bold
help
way
you
of
do it.
saying
I mean, I think, yeah, there's a housing needs in the state, and we're trying to make sure that we can keep it good quality and well planned. It's a struggle because new legislation is coming out every year, a lot of it.
Sure.
So it's a
Wow.
constant struggle with the state for us to maintain the kind of community that we all love and want. But from the city's point of view, good planning is what creates good community. And if you have good community, you have less of the bad stuff, more of the good stuff, and you create better people.
Right.
And I think you got to think about that because it's really important.
It's frustrating to hear that those blanket policies would be thrown across the state, disregarding communities like ours that have done such an amazing job of planning throughout the decades.
Well, I don't feel bad as our city because they're doing it to every city.
Right, but
It's just blanket, as you said.
sure.
And so you're going to see more of that. And, we push back where we can, but it is critical that we maintain the line to keep high quality things coming in and jobs balance and, the infrastructure keeps up. We have a great relationship with the county sanitation district, which I work on. And they've done an amazing job. We're looking at how we're going to get recycled water, and we work with the water agencies. Everything is done cohesively, and we've worked well with MTA for MetroLink. Goes on and on.
It does. And that's what I'm thinking as you're talking about all these different things. I can't imagine the list of things that you have to keep at the forefront of your mind constantly. And here, I'm just sitting here wondering if I left the iron on this morning. I can't imagine what you deal with. I mentioned that this is your sixth term as mayor. You must be very proud of that. So what's your focus for we're a few months into it, gosh, 4 months into it, but what's the stamp that you're hoping to put on our city this term?
Well, I just continue working on things I always work on. I just met with the Pecos minor league baseball team from division from Texas, so they're coming back at the end of this month to talk about minor league baseball here.
Here in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, it's been a long time goal of mine to have that, and they're coming back, and hopefully we can accommodate them and work with finding a temporary site and then a permanent site, which could really work well for our city. But for me, that's something that takes kids that, they're all playing out the Hart Pony League and
Got some
and
great young talent out there. Yeah.
you got it. We got great young talent. This would give them another step up opportunity
Sure.
to play, to be seen, to be able to have that feel of what it's like to be, in the bigger leagues.
Well, yeah, and imagine taking your team of 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds out to the minor league ballpark there for your event. That would be great.
Yeah, we were talking about, well, what would we call ours? Like cowboys or sidekicks or something,
I
because
like it.
Western rooted. But
Sure.
I think it's a possibility, so we're going to work on that. Was very excited to have an opportunity to go out with Congressman Garcia. We flew the rim of the valley a few weeks ago. Blue sky, could see all the way to the Pacific Ocean, the Channel Islands. We were up there. A lot of north winds hitting that plane. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. But it was beautiful, and he has brought the Rim of the Valley, which is 191,000 acres, along with Congressman Schiff, in a bipartisan effort through Congress. It's now Senate. He's working through that, and Senator Feinstein have been, conversing back and forth with, and she's working on it through there. It doesn't. It sounds odd to the average person. 191,000 acres. What does that mean? Well, it means that the national park system would have ability to coordinate with like Simi Valley's park district, our city Santa Clarita Park District and open space,
Okay.
and take all the resources and allow the public much greater access and much more enjoyment to their natural lands and to protect it. And you'd have better air quality and better water quality, and it's just a wonderful thing. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I thank Congressman Garcia for his work and the other congressmen, and much appreciation to the Senator Feinstein for that. I worked with Senator Wilk with open space. He's again trying to help create opportunity for wildlife corridor connections because we need to do that. Having worked with the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, had a lot of experience with us forming JPAs back and forth. For our community, this is the only community that is going to have this kind of opportunity, probably in Southern California, other than maybe Simi Valley.
That's amazing. We're talking this morning with the Honorable Mayor of the City of Santa Clarita, Laurene Weste. She's got a lot planned, and we've got a lot more questions for her, so you stick around. We will be right back. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. And we are here this morning with the mayor of Santa Clarita, Laurene Weste. So happy that you could join us today. We were talking during the break. I mentioned all the different things that you've got going on. City Council's got going on in and around town here. And you mentioned things like Vista Canyon, Hart Park. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on?
I can. We just opened Vista Canyon Park. That was a real big labor of love out there at Vista Canyon. It's 11-acre park. And, of course, like a lot of wonderful parks we do, it's got tennis courts. It's got 3 pickleball courts. Count them 3. That's really important.
3, yeah.
That's really important to people that love to play pickleball, which has become so popular. And they got basketball courts, big green area. It's just beautiful, wonderful shaded play areas with innovative things for kids to climb on and slide on. But there's the Mitchell River House.
Uh-huh.
And the Mitchell River House is an historic-looking building that we created to honor the Mitchell family that came here in the 1800s. And they were to the valley on the east side, what the Newhall family was to the valley on the west side. And the Mitchell River House, actually one of the Mitchells came to the dedication here, I think, and was happy with it. And I worked really hard on that design because day one, that house looks historic.
Yeah.
Day one. And it's a big room, and we put in a bride's room with her own bathroom and private access. There's a huge green out back with a veranda where you could have the wedding and all the people sitting, and we did that for the opening. It's got vaulted ceilings with hand-done timbers. On the roof is a bronze and copper eagle, not a rooster. An eagle for the weather vane.
Right. Oh, I see.
Got a weather vane.
Gotcha.
How many places do you know that where a city creates a historic-looking building with a weather vane?
Yeah, that's
and
great.
It's just beautiful. So, if you brides out there want to get married, call the city and find out about that facility. It's the Mitchell River House. It's just a great place. Anniversaries, birthdays, all kinds of amazing things, or just a nonprofit getting together.
Yeah.
We love that park, and I think it is one of the nicest, sweetest parks we have done. We bought a couple years ago. We bought the 2.5 acres by Canyon Country Park, our first city park. So we will start looking at how to plan that with the community, and we are working with Supervisor Barger on the transition of William S. Hart Park, which is an international icon in the world because of William S. Hart and the film legacy. So very thrilled. Got 65 animals over there. Cute little deer called Dear Abby. Dear Abby. Every school child, every school that brings children over there, they want to see the deer and they want to see the alpacas and the turtles and the pigs and the horses and the donkey, and it's just an amazing opportunity, and it's right in Old Town. So,
Yeah.
and part and parcel, and I've been after it for quite a while, as well as the supervisor, is to have an arts center here in Old Town. So we're working on that.
Gosh, I love to hear just the amazing balance, right? We're one of the most innovative cities in the country, but at the same time doing an amazing job of preserving and honoring our history, uh, growing so that there's plenty of space for our residents to live, but then also maintaining the open spaces for us to play. It's terrific. Now, you mentioned the collaboration with our LA County Supervisor, Catherine Barger, and I know she's always been terrific working with our city and the North County area. But I think oftentimes we think of ourselves as a little detached from the rest of LA County, but we can't do that. Things going on in LA County really affect us.
Yes.
You mentioned George Gascon earlier last break. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on and how that's affecting our city?
Well, if you look at the headlines, you will see just horrific headlines almost every day in the paper of man carrying machete, someone held at gunpoint, carjacking, attacks, home invasion. I mean, it's just things that we have never experienced until Gascon came along, at least almost very rarely. So crime has gone up. We're still the 13th safest city in the state for our size, our category. His policies have failed, and it is proven. It just literally, he came here, and I think they've put away into programs 20 young people 3 times, about 60 people out of 10 million people into a program.
Okay.
So basically what's happening is he's created policies where our wonderful, hardworking sheriffs, men and women, are literally going out, getting the criminals, and they continue to do that. They're out beating the pavement. They're picking up criminals. They're trying to keep this community safe. A lot of them live here. This is their hometown
Right.
tune. This is their place, their families they're protecting. And they got to process them through the front door and let them out the back. And these people are walking out the back door, and they're going right back and creating crime. And you just got to ask the average business person when they're afraid. People can walk in, walk up to the shelves, walk out. There's nothing they can do.
Right.
They are afraid. How long would you stay in business?
Yeah, it's becoming, and for a city that we pride ourselves on
Yeah.
being friendly to small businesses, it can be daunting to think about opening a business in this climate of kind of catch and release almost.
It is catch and release.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. You don't have people don't have to get back to court. Nobody's forcing them through bond. They just don't go back to court. And I think it's most important, and I will bring it. We are bringing it up at this city council meeting for us to take a position as a city to support the recall. So we're going to hear that, and I would say that it's really important for all of us to understand. The most important thing about our lives is keeping us safe.
Yeah. Absolutely. And speaking of politics and things going on at the city council, you're up for re-election
I
here
am.
pretty soon. And so what is that like being mayor when you're also starting to campaign for re-election? Is that does that become more of a challenge, or do you feel it's something that's beneficial?
Well, I'm not adverse to hard work, so
Okay. That's fair.
So I think being mayor is always something you should be proud of. It is a lot of time, and
Yeah.
what you have as mayor is the responsibility to go out and share with the community at wherever they want you to be the policies the city council and the city manager have put forth. So they set policy. The mayor goes out. Mayor does not have more power. I cannot magically do anything. I have to have those other votes.
Yeah,
to
you've got to
do
work
it.
as a team, and I think that's beautiful.
Team. It's a team. It's a team effort, and that's been the beauty of Santa Clarita, is that we are a team. We are not bifurcated the way like the city of LA is.
Sure.
However, in the future, that may change.
It might. Did you want to
No.
expand? Okay.
Not until we absolutely know where we're at.
There's some stuff going on.
And I would just say on that, no matter what comes in the future, remember, we are Santa Clarita. We are the people that control the way we live. We are the people that influence those policies.
Yes.
So however the government is, if we want to remain whole in the beautiful, wonderful community we have, and it's not perfect, but we're better than almost anywhere else I've seen. And we have to determine that everybody needs to be cognizant. I live in Newhall. I spend a lot of time in Canyon Country working on projects.
Sure.
And my parents lived in Saugus. So, it doesn't matter where you are in Santa Clarita. We are Santa Clarita, and we need to take care of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, been here over 40 years myself and watched the city grow. And one of the beautiful things that I've enjoyed watching is our city has grown in diversity as well. And, as we've grown, so too have the groups and services that our community offers that seek to ensure that all of our residents, as you mentioned, feel safe, feel welcome,
Yeah.
feel included. With the establishment of the Human Relations Roundtable a couple years ago, newly formed Santa Clarita Chapter of the NAACP, among other groups, is our city, do you think, doing enough to ensure that the needs of all of our residents are being met?
What the city does is provide a good, clean, safe opportunity for people to live. I don't. I believe the Human Relations Forum is important for community members that need to have conversations and say things to each other about what they're concerned and worried about. It is not. It's not a city council committee. It's a communities committee.
Okay, great.
Very, very different situation. That's the community. They have a right to talk and speak and share. And I believe that the nice thing in Santa Clarita is everybody lives everywhere.
Yes.
I don't care. Everybody lives everywhere. There's no segregated areas where, oh, they live over there. We haven't had that. And there's no perfect communities in the United States. There's no perfect communities in the world.
Sure.
But when I look at what's going on in Ukraine, I feel real lucky to be here and blessed. So, Human Relations Forum, we had it before, we have it now. They want equal opportunities. They want equality. They want everybody's needs to be at least heard. We meet the needs that we can. They want to do things. They want to schedule events. They'll share that with the community when they have them. And I think that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. You talk about safety, and I know an issue has come up recently regarding the safety of folks being in question here in the valley, and that's Camp Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Just up Bouquet Canyon, not too far from where I live up there in Saugus. So, can you explain just a little bit for our listeners who maybe haven't heard the complete story? What's going on with Camp Scott? What's at issue here, and what does it mean for the community?
Well, before cityhood, this was sort of the valley that nobody saw over the hill. So
Yeah.
things were sent here that wouldn't be sent to, say, the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
They put them out here, and it's hard to imagine somebody that lives on the other side of LA and is a supervisor for a district there, knowing anything about how we live here.
That's a good point.
They wouldn't know. So when we talk about Camp Scott, the Board of Supervisors has recommended Camp Scott to be a permanent facility for juvenile males that were under state authority. These are violent people.
Okay, so we're not talking about young folks that are in on maybe drug possession charges or things
We're
like that.
talking about pretty much violent.
Okay.
Robbery, rape, murder.
Okay.
You may have some of the others. And speaking of that, these are folks that would be there. And the thing with Bouquet Canyon is it's a very, very difficult canyon with fire.
Yes.
I mean, more so than any other area. A little two-lane road, one way in, one way out, and fires move really fast in there. And we saw that in the Sand Fire and several other fires.
Okay.
And when they have to evacuate inmates from anywhere, they got to bring buses. They got to do it by the rolls. By this type of offender can be here and handcuffed. This kind of offender has to be here. It's a process. It's difficult.
Okay.
And so we look at the fire in there and getting people in and out, and also the flooding issue. There is severe danger there, and under CEQA, you have to look at all of those things and have them assessed. So we will uphold the letter of the law. We will not allow the county to ignore state law.
Okay.
We will be going forward, and I will defend, along with my fellow city council members, all the way through
Okay.
to make sure that Santa Clarita is safe, and of course that those juvenile and almost adult offenders are also safe, because you don't want to put people in harm's way.
Right, because that becomes a danger not only to those other folks living up there in case of
But
fire,
to
but to
them.
them as well.
To them.
Yeah.
And I have seen it burn here in Newhall, and we almost had fire coming right down into Newhall, and it spread so fast. I have to tell you, my hero's the fire department.
Oh, absolutely. Patty and I remember being here one Friday morning as things were spreading, and that news story kind of took over
Yeah.
the show here. Mayor West, we've got a couple more things I'd love to talk to you about. We need to take a quick commercial
Okay.
break. Can you stick around for a couple more minutes
I
with us?
would be glad to.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're speaking with Santa Clarita Mayor Laurene Weste. So privileged to have her here on Eye on the Valley this morning. Going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. We're fortunate to be joined this morning by Mayor of Santa Clarita, Laurene Weste, and we've been talking about all the amazing things that, gosh, COVID did not slow us down, that we continue to develop and offer our residents here in Santa Clarita over the past few years. Reminiscing about growing up here in Santa Clarita when we were a smaller town, one of the things that I loved most, Roger LeBlanc had this great little roller rink here in town that we used to just love celebrating birthday parties at. But, Roger and his family have moved on, and we haven't had a roller rink here in town. My friends used to go, again, over the hill and skate down in
Me
the same...
too.
Oh, okay. But I hear you've got something in the works in terms of what roller skaters can enjoy.
Every elementary school, every junior high, even some of the high schools I've been out to, and I taught the kids about skating. And of course, we have the amazing cube, which is, now we've got the Kings hockey.
Yeah.
We're going to create champions there. We're going to create Olympic champions.
We already have West Creek Hockey
Yes.
is out there just making a name for themselves.
Yes, and what is it?
Or West Range Hockey.
UCLA is doing their training there.
Go Bruins. I did not know that.
Yeah, I think they're doing their training there.
But roller skating and on top of ice skating, huh?
I have been bugging the city manager about roller skating for eons, it feels like, but it's been about 5-6 years.
Okay.
And he kept telling me, nobody wants to roller skate. But to your point, nobody wanted to roller skate because there was no place to roller skate unless you went over the hill.
Roller skating on the street is tough on the elbows.
Oh, it is. And when you go down, the knees and the elbows
Yeah.
really skin up. And I know, because I am a skater and I love it. And now we don't have the one down in Northridge. It's
Yeah.
gone from COVID. And I think that the whole point is, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
Well, we like our sports and our parks and stuff in Santa
Sure.
Clarita. So he finally has put it on the books, and we're building a roller rink. It will be an outdoor with roof over.
Oh, nice.
So it'll handle lots of noise. It'll be up at the sports complex next to the
Okay.
basketball carts up there.
I love
So
that.
we'll have plenty of parking and opportunity. I'm sure they bring food trucks because, if you skate, you eat.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And I can't wait. I know our parks director, Janine Prado, she's a skater like I am.
All
And
right.
we both got our skates. We're like ready to go. Come on.
All right.
But we're going to do that, and I think you're going to see a whole new level of teen dating. Just remember, guys and gals, we're going to have rec leaders there to help you enjoy yourself.
That's an important part of growing up,
It
holding
is.
hands with somebody that you
Yes.
kind of keen on as you skate around. It's
And
like
healthy exercise.
this song is a couple's skate, and that's an
Yeah.
important part of growing up.
I think we had it here, and like you talked about it, I talked about it, and so we want them to have that opportunity. But it's healthy, it's active, and they can enjoy that. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we're working on that right now.
I think that's exciting. That is really exciting, and our community has a wide variety of interests, and one of the things we do the best is providing just a ton of events for our city. And coming out of the dark, like Gloria Stefan's saying, of COVID, we're getting back to our city events. So, we're heading into that main springtime, summertime where our events come up. What are some of the things you're looking forward to most?
Well, I know on April 23rd, we're going to have the Party on Point, and this is like free, no restrictions on you. You get to go and party, and there's no, mandates.
I see.
And so the important thing is that you can just kind of relax and enjoy that. And they're really looking at a lot of fun stuff like they're going to have live music and food trucks, of course, which we have, but there's going to be a Ferris wheel and an indoor neon skating party. So you'll be able to roller skate.
Wow.
They call that neon roller skating.
Sweet.
And I think the kids will love that. Big life-size candy land, lots of opportunities, crafts, all kinds of things for people to do. And I think they will have a blast with that. We're just looking at we're having the Canyon Country Community Center is hosting 2 events. And on the 27th, they're going to have the new farmers market. Canyon Country's getting their own farmers market now, so this is really good. And we're about to have, that'll be called the Mercado, and we're about to have a cowboy festival down here. It's not the festival, but you're going to have a cowboy weekend.
Okay.
In the street, like Census. So it'll be a Western Census party.
Okay.
And I'm kind of thrilled about that because, this is where we all can enjoy our Western heritage. And I think that, we'll have I don't know who it's going to be, but we're going to put somebody in the Walk of Stars, Western Walk of Stars.
Oh, going to
Even the mayor, does not know who that's going to be.
Okay.
So it'll get announced soon. So you're just going to start seeing people get out and enjoy and play and share each other's lives again, where we can actually feel like people communicating, and there's a lot of joy in that.
Absolutely. One of it's got to be our most popular event of the year is the concerts at the park. And boy, our city has done such an amazing job of getting thousands of people in the park at Central Park on a Saturday evening to enjoy concerts. Are we looking at a full slate of concerts this year?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And I'm already working on it with Leon Warden over the Historic Society and the city. Mm-hmm. We're preparing for the biggest 4th of July parade.
That was what I wanted to ask. That was
Good.
rough the last couple of years. We missed out on our parade.
Many, but not the same.
Sure, and great job pivoting, as
you.
folks say. But you're right, it's not the same as getting out there and seeing Carl with his fire truck and everybody else on their floats. So we've got a 4th of July parade coming this year.
We do, and it is on the 4th of July. It's
That's
always
important.
on the 4th of July, and
That's
I'm sure there'll be fireworks, and it's on a Monday, and it starts at 9 a.m., so you'll start to see online how to file and do all of that.
How to get your float in the parade. That'll be fantastic. Gosh, we're getting back to normal. That is so exciting.
And let me just say one more thing about the
Sure.
parade. We talked a lot in the parade committee about I'm getting cough from no water, but we wanted to honor all of the fire department, sheriff's department,
all
nurses.
of our first responders. So important, so important.
That's
Thank you for doing that.
The honor of the
Fantastic. Mayor West, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for your decades of service and all you do. Ma'am, you have a wonderful weekend. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye in the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. And golly, we're on Facebook Live, and we're on the KHTS app or the hometownstation.com website. You can catch us just about anywhere you're at, no matter what you're doing. So make sure you keep listening. This is Matt Watson, your host. You're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. We just spent an hour with Santa Clarita's Mayor, Laurene Weste, and gosh, there's so much going on. The weather has given us a sneak preview of summer. It's going to be high 80s this weekend. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. We've got tons of events going on. The Dodgers are playing. They're not in town. They're in Colorado this weekend, but But yeah, we got the Boys of Summer on TV and all different kind of things going on in our community. Mayor West couldn't even mention all of them. So why don't you head out to the Santa Clarita website? It is santa-clarita.com, santa-clarita.com for information on all the different events going on in and around town. And as a matter of fact, one of the things Santa Clarita does best is we volunteer to take care of our community. And if you're looking for a place to volunteer this weekend, you absolutely can. Santa Clarita residents are invited to volunteer at the 2022 Neighborhood Cleanup tomorrow, April 9th. So again, check that out on the city's website. You can volunteer to help clean up our community and keep Awesome Town awesome and gorgeous. My next guests are part of the incredible middle school team at iLEAD Online. I mentioned iLEAD Online last hour. They are our fully accredited, that means we are oakley dokley doing great, our fully accredited transitional kinder through 12th grade online school. That's right, your kindergartner, your TK learner, all the way through high school can attend school online. And if you're thinking that online school means automated, click, detached, delete, canned curriculum, you couldn't be more wrong. Katherine Witzman teaches 7th grade and 8th grade science at iLEAD Online. Katherine received her bachelor's degree in science, her bachelor's of science in liberal studies. Get my words together today. She had an emphasis in English, and clearly I'm struggling to get it out of my mouth this morning. But she also received her multiple subject teaching credential from San Diego Christian College. From there, Katherine gained experience in multi-age classrooms where her love for education continued to grow. Science, however, is one of her favorite subjects because she believes that it inspires discovery, creativity, and curiosity. Katherine's a big fan of project-based learning, which is what we do in iLEAD Online. See, I told you, it's not a canned curriculum. Project-based learning where your kids get their hands dirty and they get involved in their learning. And Katherine believes that doing science, not learning science, doing science, that is relevant to real life is what's key for kids. For fun, she loves any outdoor activity up there at the beaches. She loves sports, eating out at restaurants, and just hanging out with her husband and son. And Katherine's partner, Ben Williams. Well, Ben was born in 1926 in the bayous south of Lafayette, Louisiana. He was a happy boy, happy that is until the effects of the Great Depression set in. When his family could no longer afford to feed both him and the pet gator, they engaged in a high-stakes game of rock, paper, scissors for the family fortune. Unfortunately, forgetting that the gator could only throw paper, Ben led with rock and found himself on the skids. He wandered the back alleys for weeks before being adopted by a jazz man who showed him the way through the lead pipe of a trumpet. From then, there was nothing that could stop him. Ben caught on with a steamboat crew who nicknamed him Spirit Fingers, and he eventually worked his way upriver and north of the Mason-Dixon line, where he settled and ultimately invested his meager worth in the Coca-Cola Company. And the rest, as they say, is history. Which, by the way, is what Ben teaches at iLEAD Online. Ben, Katherine, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
For that. Thank you for the very accurate introduction.
Oh, no. We don't worry about accuracy when it comes to our introductions here at Eye on the Valley, Ben, just as long as they're entertaining. So clearly I'm familiar with the two of you, and we enjoy working together. But for our listeners, can you both share just a little bit about how you came to work with iLEAD Online? I know you both came from a little bit different directions. Katherine, why don't we start with you? You mentioned, well, your bio mentions that you started out with multi-age learning. How did you find us at iLEAD Online?
Yeah, so I actually was a part of a charter locally, and then heard about iLEAD Online from a friend who also works there. So she just had great things to say about.
She had great things to say about iLEAD Online, but I think we lost Katherine. Patty, if you can see if you can pick her back up, and we'll go to Ben. Ben, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit about, gosh, I remember your very first day with iLEAD as you were applying. Can you share your story of how you started out with our organization and ended up at iLEAD Online?
Yeah, so after investing in Coca-Cola, I continued to, when I graduated Cal State Fullerton and then got my credential, I was looking for a job, and I was in Orange County, and I saw a application for a school out in Santa Clarita for SCVI, and I applied, and I got the 1 day full long interview where I had to drive down to Santa Clarita and spend all day. And I was really excited because I was a little bit nervous about joining teaching where I was just going to have to like teach from a textbook and just try to grade tests and stuff. That's not what I wanted to do. And then this school was into so many awesome things like Leader in Me, like the 7 Habits and project-based learning and social emotional at the forefront. So when I went through that, I was like, that's the kind of school I want to be a part of. And they emailed me and said that the job was filled.
Yeah, I remember that. You were initially a no, weren't you?
Yeah. They said no to me, and I said, big mistake. Good luck finding someone as good as this. And I, like, moved my hair, and it was, like, beautiful. But then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, an email came in that said, like, that I kept kind of pursuing and saying I was interested, and then a job did appear. And it was, like, a couple of days I went and interviewed, and then they offered me the job the day of. And so I worked at SCVI for like 8 years and loved it. And then I saw an opportunity to try something new with iLEAD Online, like during COVID, just seeing how practical online teaching can be through Zoom and stuff like that. So I then was like, I'd be interested in that. And this is my first year with iLEAD Online in the middle school, and I love it. It's unique, and it's kind of pioneering new ways of learning, and I'm enjoying that process.
Ben, you mentioned our full day interview process. It can be pretty rigorous. It's not the 45-minute come in and sit down and tell us where you see yourself in 5 years, but it's a full day experience where you have breakfast and lunch with us, and you do a teaching demo and literally spend the whole day. I think it's a 9-hour interview process. It can be kind of exhausting. The idea behind that process is we want to make sure as a school organization that we get to know you, more importantly, that you get to know us, who and what we're all about. And it is one of my kind of favorite giggly stories of our hiring process that originally, you were told that we didn't have a spot. We did. We filled the spot that you were applying for. But you continued to pursue us. And in fact, it was your kind of personality and passion that stuck out to us, because you started coming to school events and you started reaching out to folks. What was it that you saw in SCVI and our other iLEAD schools, the culture at our schools, that really made you want to not only move up here from Orange County, but what made you want to work at our schools, Ben?
So just the idea that is like, the project-based learning was kind of new, like after the credential, like credential try to like talk about, they really didn't train us on project-based learning. So my first exposure to it really was through that interview process. And it just excited me to think of learning like more than just my subject, but learning like through essential questions and through driving questions and through like more of a bigger process, and even thinking history through that way, and English. And so for me, it was like, and then the other thing would be that the focus on social emotional learning, that these are human beings and need to be, like there's more than just their schoolwork, and they need to feel value beyond just their schoolwork too. So just the combination of those two things really fit what I wanted to do as a teacher. Like I said, when I was getting my credential, I was a little nervous that I was just going to have to be kind of teaching from a history textbook, giving like tests and saying if they know the year Lincoln was a president, even though they can Google it now. So
right, all that information is in our phone.
It's a lot deeper. I liked it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All that information is at our fingertips on our phone, and kids need to learn how to think and how to interact, how to problem solve, not just the list of dates. You mentioned social emotional learning and understanding that that we work with, that as teachers, our product is human beings, and that we need to work with the entire human being, not just, well, I teach math, I teach science. It's funny, I asked somebody not too long ago, Ben, when I found out they were a teacher, I said, what do you teach? And her eyes kind of lit up and she says, I teach children. And I thought that was just a great response, right? Because we do. Oftentimes we think, well, I teach math. Well, no, you don't. You teach human beings. The subject you happen to teach them is math. Now, when you move to online, Ben, there is that danger that you shut down that human interface where, you know, you and I have been goofing off and playing around here on the radio this morning, but clearly your personality and your human connection is what part of what makes you such a strong educator. But doing school online can kind of cut that. Can you speak to what makes iLEAD Online different from maybe other online schools or digital educational platforms?
Well, I would say that the heart behind what I liked about SCVI is like the same organization. The heart behind iLEAD Online is the same thing, that like it's not just that you teach them subjects, but that we're continuing to teach human beings. So taking that, I like that there's opportunities. We have like Zoom, so like that's one thing I found. Even just that Zoom alone is a good connector too. So we offer chances to meet through Zoom with videos on and audio. And sometimes the kids don't have their videos on, but at least we can connect that way. And so I really enjoy having that Zoom and the connection. And then also part of our meetings for the middle school is also to have social emotional time too. So we try to set up a system where the learners have a chance to come to us to get help when they need to. We try to have, like at the beginning of the week, we try to explain the assignments and stuff in person, as like through Zoom, I mean. And so there are elements to like connect with us. And then we also, when you join, we kind of set up with a coach. So there is also someone like a point of contact that they can really interact. So I have about 20 learners under me, and I try to interact with them the best I can and try to offer them some support for what they need. So if they want a little bit more independence, they can do that. And if they need a little bit more support, we try to offer as much as we can. And yeah. So yeah, that ends it.
This is not over, Ben. You can't go anywhere yet. So you teach.
Thank you for the interview, Matt. And
No, wait. So stop making me laugh, Ben. Anyways, I was going to say you teach history, you teach English, so you teach the humanities, but then you mentioned that you coach kids. You've got a roster of 20 kids that you coach. What's the dynamic? How is that different between teaching them the subject matter and then what you do with the learners that you coach?
Well, I feel like as a coach, my job is to get to know them, understand the needs that they have, even if they can't communicate it, try to find ways that will make them successful. So, like just a chance to one-on more, like when you join the 7th and 8th grade team, there's like me, Katie, and Catherine. There's 3 of us that kind of work together. But then there's also like I have specific learners that I try to even more keep an eye on, and then just be in communication, let them know what's going on and invite them to things, plus find out like if they are struggling, like meet with them and find out ways that we can find ways to help them be more successful.
Gosh, I'm thinking of that from the perspective of a parent, Ben, and that's a really cool dynamic. So my 7th grader would have a science teacher. I know we call them facilitators, but they would have their science facilitator, their math facilitator, their English facilitator, history, all their different subjects. But then they also have you, in some cases, as a coach, looking out for them. I'm sure you get to know them pretty well, and you can see when things aren't going well or how to encourage them when they are. And that just, it seems to me like my kid would get even more attention at your online school than maybe in a regular brick and mortar.
Yeah, and as much as how much they need, if they communicate, they can get a lot of one-on-one help. I definitely try to. We have like all 3 of us have in our email signatures, even like a place just to book a meeting. And then if they're like, how do I get help? They could just click book a meeting, and it says like, meet with this learner at 11 o'clock. And then I'm in my Zoom room, and then I can help them one-on-one. So there's a lots of opportunities to get one-on-one support when needed. We have tutors available as well, so they can sign up for those. So it's really like they can get a lot of individual assistance. You do need to ask for it at times. Like we say like, hey, we should meet, and then they will respond. But if they want to, they can book as much help as they need.
Gosh, I love that. So, all right. So again, thinking of it from a parent standpoint, my kid has all of their subject area teachers or facilitators. Then they have a coach. You also have tutors available, and you all, whether it's as a teacher or as a coach or as a tutor, you're all available for kind of like office hours. These are the times I'm available. Pop in and let's chat one-on-one. It's a full wraparound service. I'm going to ask you a trick question here, Ben. Don't get thrown. So what does a school like this cost?
Nothing.
So that's right, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up. We're a public charter school, and folks often ask me what's the difference between a charter school and a public school. Well, in the rigid definition, nothing. Your tax dollars pay for charter schools just like they pay for the school down the street around the corner. We are a public school, and the two biggest differences is we have kind of the autonomy to offer the types of curriculum that we see best meet the needs of kids. We're not locked in, as Ben said, to the 4 or 5 textbooks that the state approves. We can roll out this project-based learning curriculum that allows us to meet every kid's needs. And then the second thing is our borders. We do have borders, but they are much, much, much larger than your typical district school. In fact, iLEAD Online is authorized through the Acton Agua Dulce School District, and you don't have to live in Acton or Agua Dulce to attend. Anyone who lives in Los Angeles County or an adjacent county. So think about that. San Bernardino, Kern, Ventura, LA County, any county that touches LA County or within LA County can attend iLEAD Online. And since they're online, you don't even have to drive your kid there. Ben, I do want to take a quick break. Hopefully we can find Katherine during the break and she can rejoin us. But when we come back, I want to talk about some of the amazing projects that you're developing with your kids. I think you call them learning experiences. So we'll see what you guys are doing. We're talking with Ben Williams, trying to get Katherine Witzman back on the line. When we get back, we're going to hear about some of those projects they're developing with their middle schoolers at iLEAD Online. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and we're speaking this morning with iLEAD Online middle school facilitators, Ben Williams, and we've got Katherine Witzman back, so able to work out some of the chinks and get her back on the line. Katherine, welcome back. So.
Thanks.
Before the break, Ben was talking about some of the amazing connections, and it's funny, one might think that with an online school, the thing that kids would lack is a connection, but to the contrary, it sounds like your kids are even more connected to you and their coaches and their tutors and the support that they need than even if they were at a typical classroom-based brick-and-mortar school. So let's talk about what the typical day looks like, or maybe it's a week. So what do things look like if I'm thinking about enrolling my 7th grader at iLEAD Online? What would their experience be, whether it's a typical day or a typical week? Katherine, what does that look like?
Yeah, so one of the things I love about iLEAD Online is it really can be tailored towards the individual students. We have some learners who are even like actors or musicians or athletes where they really aren't available in the morning, so they tend to do their schoolwork later in the day, and that's great. But overall, in like a typical schedule, we have Zooms offered daily throughout the week. So what we have broken up to as the 7th and 8th grade team is Monday and Tuesdays there are Zooms offered where they can come and kind of get an overview about that week's content. We typically teach some mini lessons, and we do some interactive activities via Zoom. And that's a great way where, especially if parents are working or busy and students need a little bit more guidance, they can actually come and get that from their facilitators. And it's just a great way for us to touch base, and also a great opportunity for us to get to know each of them individually. So I love those times. And then Wednesdays, we have study halls. So learners are able just to pop in when they have questions. So once they get started, they're like on their assignments, if questions come up, they can just come back in and work in a study hall with their facilitators. And then one of my favorite meetings in the week are Thursdays, and we do advisories. So this is kind of focused on social emotional growth. So we come and we talk about like whether it's study skills or ways to be successful or stay organized during this time. But really, learners have expressed like how they really want opportunity to get to know each other, because they want that community feel as well. So we do like breakout rooms, and we'll play games and everything. And it's just a super fun time where they can kind of get that in classroom feel where you're like interacting with friends. So we host that on Thursdays. And then Fridays is kind of like meet as you need, so they can set up meetings with facilitators. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what a Monday through Friday looks like.
And you mentioned a couple of sort of distinct populations that you all attend to at iLEAD Online. During the pandemic, some of our learners, some of our families realized that their kids do really well with remote learning, with online learning, and have moved into our school because that's just kind of the way they interact with the curriculum better, and you guys still provide all the amazing support that you do. But then you've also got learners that don't have that traditional schedule, right? Because they're on set, or they're world-class athletes that are training during the day and have to take care of their stuff at a different schedule, and you're able to meet kind of everybody's need because it's not that one-size-fits-all. You have to be in class at 8:30 until 3:30, and you have to do it this way at this time, and everybody has to learn at the same pace. It's so much more customized, right? Now, speaking of customization, Ben, I understand, yes, you're a charter school, and the majority of your learners, well, I don't even know if it's a majority, but you've got a lot of learners that are enrolled full-time. They take their full battery of classes, and you work with them. But you also have learners who attend another school, could be a public school, could be a private school, but they take one or two classes through you guys. Can you talk about that, how families can take just one or two classes, whether it's an elective, catch up on a math class, what have you?
Yeah, so we do have on our website, iLeadOnline.org, we have course catalogs, and it is available also through like homeschool funds, or you can directly pay for it.
Okay.
We call it vendor learners, and they can basically take the class, like individual classes. We do have learners with us that are not full-time iLEAD Online learners who do take the core classes with us, and then we offer electives on that website as well, so then they can even sign up for electives. And that same course catalog extends greatly when they get into high school. Individual classes that they can get as well using school funds or personal funds.
You mentioned a great point, those homeschool families, a lot of homeschool programs, whether it's through our iLEAD Exploration or any other homeschool program throughout the state, families can oftentimes kind of choose a la carte their classes. And so you guys, this is different than your free public charter school. You offer families, whether it's through their educational funds, or families could even purchase individual courses, and these would be students that aren't full-time students of your charter school. That's kind of cool. So you've got, like, let's say my high school only offers Spanish as a second language, and I want to take French or Japanese or something like that. I can take it through iLEAD Online. Or Well, golly, if you were a student like me who found himself behind in his math credits, you could pick up a math class and do the studying at night. So that's really cool. So we've talked about project-based learning, but with things being online, it can be a bit of a challenge. How do you all work project-based learning into a virtual classroom? How do you get projects rolling in your online model?
So it's Ben, Katie, and I who all work together. And so what we do each quarter is we come and we actually plan a project together. And so it's including math, ELA, history, and science. And so we kind of come together, talk about the different topics that we are covering that quarter. And we try to come up with a project that touches on those, or that we can use the topics covered in our core classes to kind of provoke deeper thinking or thought for the project. So an example would be, one of my favorite ones we did was, it's called the Sustainable System Project. And so what we wanted learners to do was actually come up with their own sustainable system. And we were able to make connections in different subject areas. So like history, we talked about the Roman system and the European kingdoms during the Middle Ages. And then language arts, we connected to the system of like an argumentative writing or coming with a defense. In science, we talked about cells and how they operate as a system. And so that's like a little like overview of what one of the projects would look like. But I love it because it doesn't say like, okay, create a sustainable system, write me an essay. They really can go in any direction that they want. So we have some like essential questions that they need to demonstrate through their project. But we've had learners do a newscast, a video, a PowerPoint presentation, a 3D model. So it can be as like digital or hands-on or literature focused as they want it to be. So I've loved seeing like what learners can come up with when they're really given the freedom of creativity through their projects.
That is fantastic, and it just goes back to, again, individualized learning, that the kids still demonstrate, am I right, they demonstrate knowledge of all the state standards. They're still meeting all of those standards, but they're demonstrating it in a way that works best for them.
Absolutely.
So,
and
go ahead.
There's chances to do more soft skills. Like we are typically asking them to present their projects, which gives them chances to organize and how to think through what they're going to speak on and present it. And so there's still lots of opportunities from the practice, like speaking and obviously writing and stuff like that, and organizing their thoughts to present it.
And that stuff, you called them soft skills, but there's stuff that's really valued, right? Today, 2022, employers actually prefer someone who can speak to a group, who can organize, who can be a leader, over someone who has that content knowledge. Like I said, not that you're not developing it, but those, what you referred to as soft skills, are so incredibly important and valued once kids get into the professional space. I'm looking at your catalog here, Ben, and it says that Q3 is the modern Renaissance. And I know you're a big history guy. Can you explain a little bit about what's going on in Q3? What kids are doing in regards to this learning experience called the modern Renaissance?
So with that project, we wanted to try to bring in more math as well.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes with doing projects, math doesn't always work. So we actually game of life kind of budget that they were learning through math, like how to do things. So they had to simulate like debt. Like they got basically a career, and then they had a salary, and then they had to budget for housing, grocery, transportation, debt, etc. Then they had options to purchase things. And so they basically were kind of going through at least a year's worth of future using math to do like calculations for budgets and stuff. And then we also, on top of that, were like because we were looking at Renaissance, and I was trying to teach about how the Renaissance people wore many hats and they weren't just one thing all the time. Like, oh, I'm a writer and I can't do anything else. And I wanted them. So we try to like have them imagine as an adult life what kind of hobbies and what kind of interests and things. So basically, turned in the budget with a persona that they created for their modern Renaissance person, and were able to imagine themselves in a different city and doing different hobbies and interests and stuff. So then they wrote about that, and it kind of hit quite a few subjects, and they were able to use their imagination, which is always awesome.
You know what's striking me here, Ben, is that the curriculum seems extremely relevant and real. I remember growing up and studying the Renaissance, and you know me, I'm a history guy too, and that kind of stuff fascinates me, but at the same time it was like, these are people that died 500 years ago and I can't really relate, and so it's fun trivia to have in my brain, but when is this ever going to help me? But on the other hand, when you're working with your kids and they're learning about the Renaissance, they're learning how those types of concepts apply to them now and how it's going to help them now and in the very near future. It seems like you guys are using these projects to make the curriculum and the state standards really relevant to engage your learners.
Yes.
So, Katherine, I didn't get a chance to catch up with you and how you joined us at iLEAD Online. So let's just talk about how your experience here with iLEAD Online compares to, because as I mentioned, you've worked at other schools, you've taught other formats. How are you liking your experience with iLEAD Online, and how does it compare to your experience at some of the other schools you've taught at?
Yeah, it's honestly been awesome. When I made the switch, to be totally honest, I was a little nervous even about the online platform. I was like, oh, am I going to have that relationship with students? Am I going to have any colleagues that I collaborate with? And it really has been one of the most collaborative atmospheres I've been in, which has been so awesome. Working with the 7th and 8th grade team has just been such a joy. And so that really makes us the best educators that we can be. And then also it's so cool because there's 3 people working with the same student. So, for instance, if I have a learner who's struggling, I can touch base with the other facilitators and coaches and be like, okay, what can we all do to come around this learner to support them and to make sure that they're able to be successful? So I've loved that aspect of iLEAD Online, just seeing how we really can tailor it to learners who are either struggling or who are excelling. Like I have some of my 8th grade learners, they felt like 8th grade math was too easy, so we were able to get them into a high school course. And so I feel like that is one of the hard things, is meeting the needs even of high achievers. And so even being a part of a school that really cares for learners who are struggling or excelling, and we want to serve them where they're at, to challenge them at an appropriate level. So I have just loved my experience at iLEAD and seeing how we're able to serve our people here.
What an amazing experience for kids. And I want to reiterate for our listeners, iLEAD Online is a completely tuition-free public charter school that your kids can sign up for. If you go to ileadonline.org, you can get more information. You can enter the lottery, because it is through lottery that you apply for our school, and your kids can attend a fully free online school that has all these different supports and services for your kids. And again, if you can hear my voice, you're probably in a location where your learners can attend, because our boundaries are LA County and any adjacent county, so it's really not an issue. Katherine, Ben, I really want to thank you for joining us this morning and sharing about the program at iLEAD Online. We appreciate it. You both have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. This is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson. This is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and over the break, I was able to convince my buddy Ben Williams from iLEAD Online Middle School to stick around and join us for trivia. Ben, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And now it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame, except that we ain't got a no Big T this morning. That's right. You may recall, for the part that he played in hijacking the show just a couple of weeks ago, Big T is still on the tail end of serving his 2-week suspension. So we brought in his wingman, his better man. So please welcome back to the show, Scott Watson. Y'all remember Scott? He is a 2018 graduate of Saugus High School, where he served 2 years as an ASB executive officer and 1 year on the William S. Hart District Board of Directors as the student representative. Scott is a recent graduate of UC San Diego, class of 2021, magna cum laude. That's right, and he did it just in 3 years. He's currently enjoying the fruits of his labor, surfing his days away in La Jolla before he has to move to Washington, D.C., where he'll be working full-time as a legislative assistant for Congressman Mike Garcia, and he's already announced his own candidacy for the White House in 2062. Here he is. He's Mom's favorite. Sorry, Hannah. He is Scott Watson. Scott, welcome back to the show, bro.
Hey, thank you for having me again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more than happy to fill in while the big man is still serving out his 2 weeks of hard labor. But knowing him, he's not working hard at all.
Speaking of working hard, I understand that you've been working all morning with the congressman and his staff, and so we appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to play with us. We really enjoy that. So,
absolutely.
For those of you playing along at home, you have a significant advantage because what Ben and Patty and I are going to do is Scott's going to throw out his trivia questions, and we're going to hit our buzzers. Our buzzers are our names. Now, so we've got Ben. Patty sounds a little bit like Maddie, so I'm going to go by Frogger. And what we're going to do is we call out our name in order to buzz in. But if you're playing along at home, you don't need to call out your name. Just shout out the answer. You keep score at home. I'll keep score right here in the studio.
Ben.
Go for Ben.
Did I do it right?
Yes. What's the answer?
2.
Scott.
Hey, that's a point.
There we go. 1 point for Ben. All right.
Write that down.
There we go. I've got it right here. All right, Scott, you want to weigh in on this?
Absolutely. So I will start off, like last week, with a dead guy birthday of the day.
All right.
Juan Ponce de Leon, the famed European explorer who was the first European to step foot in Florida and was governor of Puerto Rico, was born on this day in the 15th century. Fun fact, after exploring parts of Florida and ascending the governorship of Puerto Rico, Juan Ponce de Leon was actually removed from power because he was so erratic, treated his subjects so poorly, and consequently spent the rest of his days meandering around Florida, babbling on about the Fountain of Youth, perhaps becoming the first Florida man in history. And with that, we can get right into trivia. First question of the day.
Hang on just a second, Scott. I've just got this image in my head of a Spanish conquistador wearing a wife beater, wandering around the swamps of southern Florida, looking for
Muttering to himself.
Right, muttering to himself. All right. Sorry to slow your roll. All right,
yeah,
let's get into it.
He'd probably be wearing Birkenstocks too. But the first question of the day is, which famous lawyer and former presidential candidate argued opposite of Clarence Darrow in the Scopes monkey trial?
Frogger. I'm going to go Bobby Kennedy.
That is incorrect. Anybody else?
Got nothing on me.
Anybody else? The answer is former 3-time presidential candidate William Jennings Bryan.
Oh, well, of course.
Next question. Who was the host for the first episode of Saturday Night Live?
Frogger.
Ooh.
Huh.
I'm going to go Steve Martin.
That is incorrect, although he is a very famous stand-up comedian from the second half of the 20th century, if anybody else would like to weigh in.
Patty? Chevy Chase?
That is incorrect, although he was an original cast member. Ben?
I don't know. Who to guess?
Was stand-up comedian George Carlin.
Oh, my,
Stand-up comedian
wow.
George Carlin was the first host for the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Next question. What was the first rap song to hit the number one on the Billboard Hot 100
Frogger.
back in the early 90s? Frogger?
Oh, early 90s. See, I was thinking early 80s and Rapper's Delight.
Patty.
That is incorrect.
Was it California Love?
That is incorrect.
Oh.
I still don't have a guess.
The
Why can't it
answer
be like,
is
who's the first president of the United States? Ben. George Washington.
the answer is you guys are gonna kick yourself. Ice Ice Baby.
Oh,
Was the
come
first
on.
to hit number one, the first rap song to hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100.
That makes sense.
I will throw out an easy one for the next one.
Phew.
Which cell organelles are commonly referred to as the powerhouse
Patty.
cell?
Patty.
I think I heard Patty first.
That is the mitochondria, sir.
That is correct.
Let's
Mitochondria. Next question. What year was the first Super Bowl held?
Frogger.
Frogger.
1962.
That's right. Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Patty.
Ben.
Patty.
This is
And then Ben.
1963.
That is incorrect.
No.
Ben?
Oh, that was my guess.
What?
1961.
That is incorrect.
No,
the
it-
answer is 1967.
Oh, I was going to say 4.
1967.
Lies.
Oh, I was gonna say 4.
1967 is when Super Bowl I was held. Next question. How many films are in the Die Hard franchise?
Frogger.
Frogger.
All of them.
I don't know I don't know what to say.
Ben.
Ben.
5?
That is correct.
Hey, Ben with a point. Let's go.
Ben is the first one
2
on the
points. I
board.
got the first
Well,
one.
yeah, it's right. We got 2-1 right now. Ben's leading Patty.
That is true. Next question. Who was Marilyn Monroe's second husband?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Joe DiMaggio.
That is correct.
Woohoo! I'm on the board.
Here's to you.
Next question. In the hit 1970s film Smokey and the Bandit, what is the name of the dog owned by the
Frogger.
snowman?
Frogger.
Frogger.
His name is Fred.
That is correct. His name is Fred. How much time we got left, Uncle Matt?
How we doing, Patty? We got about
Less than 2.
okay, less than 2 minutes. Let's go 2 more quick
I
questions.
got a few more questions. What was the first commercially successful video game in history?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That'd be Pac-Man.
That is incorrect.
Patty.
Actually, earlier
Ben.
than Pac-Man.
Ben.
Patty.
Super Mario.
Oh, come on.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Frogger.
Ben? What was that, Ben?
Frogger. Isn't the game Frogger? Frog? Frogger?
Oh, no. The first commercially successful video game was Pong back in the
knew
1970s. Pong.
1 minute.
Yeah. One more quick question,
yeah.
Scott, and then we got to go.
All right. Last quick question. Which historical event occurred first? The election of Barack Obama or the release of the iPhone?
Frogger. iPhone.
Frogger. That is correct. The iPhone was released a few months before November
And
of
with
2008.
that, I win 3-2-1. Great showing, though, Ben. We do have to wrap up. Scott, thanks for balling out against your on your dad again. We appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Mayor Laurene Weste, Catherine Witzman, and Ben Williams from iLEAD Online, producer Sarah, engineer Patty, engineer Carlos, and thank you for listening. Join us next weekend every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.